everybody, welcome to another video. I was just listening to this girl Estelle on YouTube. I really love a lot of the content that she puts out. If you like my videos, you probably love hers. And I think her channel is just Estelle. So she was talking about this concept that inspired me to make this video, about how it's so crucial to choose faith, especially if all you've ever known was suffering or trauma or abuse or whatever in your life. And I wanted to talk to the community of people who have endured a lot of trauma and whose nervous systems and psyches and beliefs might not yet fully inhabit the embodied knowing of what it is that your soul longs for, which is just love. We all need love. We all long for love. And we all deserve to be loved in ways that are unique to us and what, makes us feel comfortable and loved, and also challenged in the right ways with the right kind of support so that we can grow and evolve. But also, a kind of love that feels like a soft landing space where we feel deeply seen and understood. And so Estelle was talking in her video about how important it is to choose faith and to have the courage and boldness to choose faith, even if, for example, you've never experienced a positive relationship, or you've never been able to keep a job, or whatever your circumstances. If you absorb my content, I'm an abuse survivor, and I'm pretty open about some of the things that I've been through, and I like to share my stories as a testimony to literally the glory of God. I feel a little cliche saying that because I hear it a lot, but it is true. Sometimes when the world fails to hold or meet you, God is always there. And what I found, and I want to encourage you, in this video, is that when I have chosen to take massive leaps of faith, even when sometimes everything in my nervous system, my body, my past is telling me that doesn't exist. There goes my nose rings again, popping out. Sorry about that. They always have something to say as well. But yeah, every time I've chosen to step out in faith, I get rewarded. And I feel like a tiny example of doing this is say you experience general social anxiety, which I'll be honest, I think there's always a reason. I think that biologically, psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, our bodies and our layers of ourselves are extremely intelligent. And I don't kind of like these broad, wide cast net labels, especially when it comes to the pathologization of our symptoms, of our experiences, because I understand that the body and the layers of the self have an intelligence that are simply responding to stimuli. They're simply responding to an environment. And, I know so many people on this earth have what people like to call mental health disorders. I think that I want to speak about this carefully, because I want to respect people who use those labels, because I understand that they can bring a sense of, structure and grounding to your experience, and can help you navigate and take more steps and get closer towards feeling whole, feeling healthy, feeling balanced, feeling supported for who you are, how you are, why you are the way you are. And in addition to that, in my experience dealing with things like depression and honestly trauma, abuse, recovery, CPTSD, all kinds of things, I understand that even the littlest, mental health symptom can be it usually is a response to stimuli. It's a reaction to environmental or social conditions. And I know that super intimately from my own experiences. So, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. Went on a little bit of a tangent. I guess that's all just to say, I want to encourage you to embrace whatever it is that you experience. There's no such thing as, being too much or fundamentally wrong. I don't believe in that. And as long as you're not masking or performing, when you're honest with yourself, then, you're just a human being experiencing reality from your unique, standpoint. And people might not be able to understand or support that, but that doesn't make it wrong or bad. It just means that you have a unique makeup, you know what I mean? And so when it comes to having faith, when it comes to being a trauma survivor, an abuse survivor, and choosing faith, doing the courageous, bold thing and choosing to move forward in faith, even though you have no idea, you've never known what it is that you want, you want this thing, you want to embody this state of being, you want your relationships to look like XYZ, you want to live in an environment that has all these things, but you've never been to a place like that before. You've never known these certain conditions to exist before, but you're designed for it, because the other institutions, the other relationships, the other environments, the other jobs, the other roles, they weren't compatible. They didn't honor you. They didn't revere, your unique light, and in Judaism, we have a belief that every neshama, or every soul, has a flame inside of them, a light, and it is our duty as Jews to light up the world, to literally shed our light on things. And your light is built from different fuel to every other light on the planet, and only the fuel that lets your light burn can be used to let your light burn. You are a unique set of conditions and circumstances, and you have unique needs, and all of those things together make the metaphorical candle of your soul. And it's your responsibility to listen to that. And I really believe that when you're in tune with what makes you, you're in tune with God, and you're in tune with God's instructions, because that's my experience personally. And so again, this is about encouragement to those of you who have gone through unfathomable weight and pain, and just like me. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of other people like us out there. However, we're rare. It's not common to find, and I don't say that to give myself an ego boost or to make it about how special I am, but the things that I experience, the way that I perceive the world, I don't see or hear a lot of people, especially on a mainstream scale, talking about the kinds of things that I, live on a day-to-day basis, and my unique circumstances and internal conditions and things. And all of this is to say that, I just want to validate that you are a miracle, you are unique, and, if this video is for you, if you resonate with this, you're probably maybe similar to me in the sense where, you didn't necessarily always feel validated growing up or existing in society, and you tried to take on normal roles, and you tried to do the conventional society thing. You tried to go to school, you tried to get the job, you tried to have certain kinds of relationships, but they didn't scratch the itch. They didn't meet you where you are. They didn't nurture you back. Maybe you gave more than you received, or you were just built for a different kind of set of circumstances. And so I want to just, share these words to encourage you. If you're in a similar situation and you are longing for something in your soul, whether consciously or not, but you're living in this experience where no matter where you turn, you more and more, like every day of your life, more and more becomes more obvious to you, more unavoidable, more inignorable, that you are special in your own way. You know, not better than anybody else, not more special than anybody else, but you are unique, and you don't fit into the places that, you know, have maybe been prescribed to you or laid out before you, and that's okay. And I just want to acknowledge the courage and the faith and the boldness and the trust that it takes to take action in accordance with what your soul is telling you, especially when it goes against what, you know, society's prescriptions, or your parents, or your friends, or even your relationship, or whatever. Like, and if you're in these relationships with people who expect you to fulfill a certain role that's just tearing away at your soul, maybe it's time to reassess those relationships in your life, because you deserve to be supported, you deserve to be seen, and you deserve people who, even if they don't personally agree with your path or your way, they can respect you, and they can love you, and they can actually support you, and they actually have a genuine desire for you to be successful in your own unique way. I think that's what's important. And yeah, so I want to encourage you with that. But ultimately, this message is just here for you, to encourage you, to support you, whether you know, haven't taken that first leap yet, or you're about to make a decision that is terrifying or scary because it's new and no one instructed you to do it, but your soul is telling you that what you're looking for is not here. So you need to go forward. You need to go seek it out somewhere else. So I think that's all. I'm going to leave this here. I'm sending you so much love. And yeah, leave a comment if this resonated. I always love hearing your, you know, when people can relate. You know, let's say hi to each other. Let's build a community. Let's make it known that we are not alone. Feel free to share a piece of your story. The last thing I'll say before I end this is, I know that for me, you know, going through, you know, whatever it is that I went through in life, when I began my journey of following my own soul path and my intuition and what I interpret as God's instructions, you know, him speaking through my intuition and showing me the path for my personal fulfillment, and, you know, to fulfill my dharma, my purpose, my calling, and to inhabit more of my body, to allow more of my soul to inhabit my body. When I was, you know, beginning, and in moments of, you know, deep transition, what a dare freaking devil, holy crap, Bola. You know how when you're on like rural backcountry roads and cars can pass you and they're going straight on into oncoming traffic? Well, this guy just like went super close to a car coming the opposite way. You know, look at it as a metaphor, I don't know, but yeah, you know, I will say that it's like, if you, okay, I gotta finish my first thought, and then I'll go into the truck thing, and then I'll end this. But yeah, I found a sense of community, even without like directly forming like close relationships with anybody in particular, but watching videos like this and reading comments of people's testimonies and stories on YouTube when I felt alone and I had to kind of let go and move away from the environments and relationships and things that were depleting me and, you know, making me feel further away from the most aligned version of myself. I found so much comfort and a sense of, you know, God really holding my hand and giving me a hug and kiss and like supporting me and being there for me when people, you know, in my immediate life weren't in the capacity that I needed. And not to shame them or make them wrong or whatever, but it's just a matter of misalignment, you know, a lot of the time, or sometimes. And so with the truck thing, that was crazy and kind of scary. And what I'm talking about, this is kind of a perfect analogy for that. I'm in on a byway, and the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, and I'm going 71. doesn't even feel like 71, but I guess that's what happens when you're out in the big country and it's super vast. But anyway, this guy has his own pace, obviously. He's going fast. He's well ahead of me right now. And we were apparently too slow for him. He's got somewhere to be, whatever. He's on his own mission. And he cut around us and went ahead of us. But the oncoming traffic in the opposing lane was so close that the car coming closest to this truck who passed all of us, me in my lane, started to swerve into the shoulder because this guy was getting way too close. It was actually scary. Like, I couldn't imagine if I was in that situation, which actually I think I have been once or twice, and it's terrifying watching a car barrel towards you at like 75, 80 miles an hour, and you literally only have a shoulder to like make a little extra room in. And it's kind of like a bit of a wake-up call type of message. I don't know how aggressive this message needs to be, but it just makes me think of like, be aware of the pace that you walk through the world at, and be aware of like the lane that you choose to drive in, because if you're choosing convenience and comfort, you might find yourself in a situation where your natural speed, your natural pace, your natural rhythm might put somebody else in danger, or create this unnecessary or like dramatic or potentially dangerous or scary confrontation or whatever. But if you pick a road, if you pick a path, if you pick a way that gives you the space and the freedom to move as you are, as God created you to, you can avoid situations like that. And I feel like it's just a metaphor, you know, and I really want to encourage you to find a path that, even if it is 1 ounce different than the path that you are on right now, find one small tiny action step you can take to bring more ease into your life, because ease is alignment, it's fluidity, it's receptivity, it's allowance. Not to say that life doesn't have its challenges and its resistances, because how could we, you know, grow and strengthen ourselves if we didn't have some resistance or opposition from time to time. But, you know, use your discernment with the words that I'm saying, because it's a nuanced, the whole topic of conversation is a nuanced one. So yeah, I think I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to hearing from you and sharing more.